Sonic 06 was given an absolute beating by reviews and is regarded as one of the worst Sonic games of all time. But was it actually that bad? I'm Joe, your former game industry insider, and today we're reviewing Sonic the Hedgehog on the Xbox 360, a game that's in the history books for all the wrong reasons. Sonic 06 was released for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 in, you guessed it, 2006. Back in 2006, Sega had high hopes for Sonic's next-gen debut. The gaming landscape was evolving with new consoles like the Xbox 360 and PS3 pushing graphical boundaries, and Sega aimed to redefine Sonic for this new generation. But with tight deadlines and a rushed development process, we know how that turned out. The game was developed by Sonic Team, or rather half the Sonic team. Apparently the dev team was split to work on Sonic and the Secret Rings as well. Yikes. And naturally it was published by Sega. The game features the classic elements we expect from the Blue Hedgehog: platforming, adventure, and future Trunks, the hedgehog with telekinesis. Wait, what? The plot is even more unexpected, involving time travel, an apocalypse brought by an immortal sun god, and a very questionable romance between Sonic and a princess. A human princess. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. The story unfolds through 3 different storylines: Sonic's, Shadow's, and Silver's, that eventually merge together into one finale. From the get-go, Sonic 06 showed me why people felt the way they did. It's a bad sign when I'm actively laughing at a game that's not intended to be funny. To be fair, the intro looked decent, but the minute you take control of Sonic, you start to realise you're in for a rough ride. I'll start this rough ride off with the core gameplay. The game does stay true to its high-speed platforming history, but the execution is way off, starting with the controls. The controls make characters feel like they're running on ice, making simple platforming sections absolutely rough. On top of that, the game has high-speed sections, as expected in a Sonic the Hedgehog game. However, going high speed will lead to the player fighting the environment and the camera to stay on track. And talking about traits that make this game the antithesis of the character, what's Sonic known for? High speed, spin dash, maybe his homing attack as well? No, he's known for sliding really slowly at enemies and becoming invincible while doing so. Sliding is the best way of defeating enemies as Sonic. It's dull and really broken. But there are more characters than just Sonic. Remember that. We have Shadow, whose whole gameplay revolves around driving vehicles in a very clunky manner. Okay, but we've got a brand new character who's ridiculously overpowered and got telekinesis. We're going to make him solve puzzles with poor controls and collision detection. That's the best use of him, right? You also occasionally control other characters like Tails, who's known in the community for throwing barrels with the strength of a demigod. Characters joining you is a cool concept and can keep the game fresh. However, they will literally stand there and watch as you get beaten to a pulp. And when you switch into a new character, they'll say something like, "I'll go on ahead," or "I'll sort this for you." But then the character you switched from will just follow anyways. It's really clunky. On top of that, sometimes the following characters just end up falling to their doom on repeat, which is sort of a bug. And there are definitely bugs in this game, ranging from graphical glitches to being defeated by nothing. One of my favourites is when the game can't decide if you want to light dash or just plummet 5,000 feet into nothingness. Right, there needs to be something good I can say about the gameplay, right? Well, some of the levels, like Crisis City for Sonic, go absolutely hard, and you can see the potential there. Playing as Silver has some really interesting moments in that you can use telekinesis to stop rockets coming at you and then fire them back. Shadow has access to Chaos Control upgrades which add unique elements to his gameplay, and if we're completing the trifecta, Sonic levels have that classic charm of being able to skip past segments if you have good platforming skills. Now back to the bad. Unfortunately, the game tries to incorporate hub worlds with side quests, NPC interaction and more, but these side quests are some of the worst I've ever seen in my whole life. Here Sonic has to catch a bunch of children. Here Sonic has to complete a 2 guards 2 doors riddle which doesn't even make sense. Wait, in this one you save a dog. Everyone loves that, right? But you save a dog from literally nothing and he's only down the street from the kid asking you to save him. The added bonus on these side quests is that for some reason they load twice, so you have to wait to hear them say some nonsense and then wait again. The NPC interaction is absolutely pointless and they have like 3 voice actors making weird noises. I stopped doing anything optional NPC related pretty quickly. Compared to vibrant hub worlds like in Super Mario Sunshine, which came out 4 years earlier, the ones here are empty and lifeless. I'm not done with this game just yet. I want to point to boss battles, which has always been a big feature in Sonic the Hedgehog games. These boss battles have some of the coolest concepts behind them, but then are either really boring, really easy, or just straight up broken. Silver in particular was a broken boss fight, as he would just use his overpowered telekinesis to trap you in an endless loop. The best way to defeat him was using Sonic's secret power. You guessed it, sliding very slowly. Overall, this game reeks of something unfinished. There are glimpses of a good game here, and if the team had more time for QA and polish, rather than being rushed to be released on the 15th anniversary, it might have been a cult classic. Instead, it's a lesson in how rushing a game for deadlines can have long-term consequences. Now, I'd like to try and be more positive. The music in this game is honestly a massive highlight. The soundtrack is filled with memorable tracks that appeal to fans both new and old, and some of the tracks honestly, in my opinion, go absolutely hard. And the main theme, His World, is way too good for this game. The credit song is done by Akon. Yes, the Akon. I honestly don't know how they cooked this hard with the soundtrack but messed up with the rest. Back to reality a little bit. The voice acting is good.
Hey, is that the narrator from Pokemon?
But the lip syncing and the awkward writing brings it back down to the level expected, which is really annoying. Which brings me on to the visuals. A mixed bag again for sure. The environments can look quite nice, even beautiful in some cases. However, the character models are awkward and lack detail. Dr. Eggman in particular is just awful. Look at this abomination. For some reason as well, animals are absolutely giant in this game, but humans are tiny. But even with tiny humans in this universe, the doors of houses are still normal size. It just showcases the lack of detail on this game. The animations are also really stiff, almost as if they were made in Gary's mod by someone making a fan film. And talking about a fan film, the story genuinely seems like a really weird fanfic. Spoilers ahead as a heads up. Skip to the next chapter if you don't want to hear them. The game attempted to make a more cinematic narrative than Sonic games of the past, blending realism and fantasy in a unique way for the franchise. But this became a big part of its downfall, as it's super weird to see cartoon animals interacting with realistic human characters in a grounded setting. The game has 3 stories that overlap and end up merging into a big finale. Sonic saves a princess like 4 times and they end up falling in love despite the fact they only knew each other for like an hour at most. Silver is trying to save his future from a sun god and gets fooled by a Shadow lookalike calling himself the devil. Shadow actually has decent character development while trying to help stop the devil. All three converge to a weird ending where they all go Super Hedgehog, and beat the big bad sun god. A reset button is hit and none of it actually happened. Despite its ambition, the story is convoluted, especially with time travel that makes you think, just go back further. There's also a whole parallel with Sonic X, where the princess doesn't want to go back to a time where Sonic isn't in her life, but instead of a metaphor for clinging on to your childhood and not wanting to grow up, this princess just wants to snog him, and again, only knew him for like an hour, so it just doesn't make sense at all. Anyways, my favourite moment was when Sonic beat Eggman and he just dies in the most anticlimactic way ever. What? What? I will say, the concept of intersecting storylines merging into a finale is cool, but the execution is lacking. Weird example, but if you want an example of it done right, Lost Planet 2 absolutely nailed it, in my opinion. So, was Sonic 06 actually that bad? Yes! In my opinion, it was. The game wasn't just a letdown, it showed us what could have been, leaving fans to wonder about the game we'll never see. The main thing to remember though, as people on the outside, we don't know who made what decision that messed this game up so bad. In my opinion, based on what I've researched, this was not on the dev team at all. The game had intriguing concepts and a great soundtrack, but it just wasn't finished, and all the bad overwhelms any good. I'd only recommend playing this if you're trying to experience this misstep in the series' history. You can literally play most of the levels on Generations anyway, so there's not much reason to play this. But hey, at least we got one of the best gifts to humanity from this mess. Snapcube's real-time fan dub of it. Since you guys made it all the way to the end, let me know in the comment section what your favourite Sonic game is and why. Oh, also let me know if you're excited for the new Sonic movie. I can't wait to see Maria get shot on screen. There's gonna be a few traumatised kids, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a like to let me know I'm doing the right thing. Subscribe if you want more content like this, and let me know your suggestions for content down below. Thanks for joining me on this journey through time. Have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, whenever you are, and be sure to come back next Friday where I'll be covering something better. See you then. Day 25. Half the team have left us to go work on a game where Sonic fights a genie. I'm told that Sonic 06 needs to go out in 2 weeks. Management says we need to add a third hedgehog. I don't have time for this.
I've had my fill of bad futures. It's the end for you two. I'm cleaning up.
Oh my god, I've got it!